Next, the single, most obvious, big money. Why didn't I think of that product? In Big Idea History.
Is the secret to being a millionaire literally just inches away from you right this very second? Well, tonight we're learning to spot the hidden million-dollar ideas right in your own home and turn them into money. And my next guest came up with his million-dollar idea right in the living room.
Standing in the living room, hosting a kegger, Michael Marin realized he didn't know which beer belonged to him. It's a common problem, but Michael wasn't satisfied with a common solution. He envisioned the perfect party cup where revelers could write their names or make their mark with no more than a fingernail and never lose a beer again. Michael invented the Etch-it cup. Fast forward 10 years, and now the Etch-it cup is sold in party stores all over.
Mike Marin, creator of Etch-it cups. Welcome to the Big Idea, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Exciting.
This is genius. Very simple. The formula, if I understand it right, we all know what these cups are, right? We've all been to parties everywhere, barbecues, keg parties. We see these, we take a drink, we put it down. We don't know if it's our cup, whatever it is, you can't reuse the cup. You have a brainstorm.
Thank you very much. I hear it a lot.
Which is what? Tell us the story.
Basically, first of all, this is how they work. You just peel off this protective cover, take your fingernail, so no tools required, and just go slow at first. That's kind of the trick. Simply just etch your name or a cool picture or slogan. That always goes over good with the girls, right?
I like that. That's better. He's more creative than me. This is Donnie with a little dollar sign next to it. I just did a very crude Don. What a great idea. Taking the ultimate commodity, non-product that doesn't matter, and making it matter, making it personal. We've done a lot of ideas on this show, obviously, thus the name of the Big Idea. This is one of my favorites because this is truly a twisted mind that would come up with this. So how do you now take this? You have this idea, go, you know what? I can't go to one more keg party and lose my cup or whatever it is.
Right.
Obviously, they used to call you Jeff Spicoli in high school. Is that
right,
true? You're like surfer dude.
Yeah.
So you were well pedigreed in this area.
Right, exactly. I grew up in Southern California surfing, been to a few keg parties in my time, and actually one time wrote down the idea and stuck it in my pocket. And I keep this little box of ideas on my desk, inventions, and threw it in there. And years later, I pulled it out and said, I'm going to work on this one. You know, you let it go in your mind and go in your mind and go in your mind. And so I made up some prototypes. And I'm like, oh, those are pretty cool. And then they sat on my desk for like 6 months. And we were on our way out the door to this Christmas party, and we knew they'd have kegs, and it was a big old house party. And my wife said, my girlfriend at the time, said, let's make some of these up, bring them to the party, and see how people like them. So we brought them to the party, and of course, everybody loved them and was doing pictures and slogans. And you know, my idea was identification, but I didn't even realize till that night the slogans, the sexy things, and all the things that people put on there. And that night's the night that, like, the aha moment when I knew I really had something by the way people were looking at them. But the real moment came was I was playing video games. I went back to the bar, and I realized I forgot my beer back at the video games in the other room. And when I went back in there, that was the moment when I decided to make this a career, go from hobby to career with this product, because it was like glowing. My beer.
You know what nerve you also, it's funny you said my beer. The whole premise of the liquor industry, where the reason people will spend, $20 on one vodka and $3 on another, because it's a personal drink, they're making a statement that you took something drinking, which is anything but anonymous, up until now in the home is anonymous, and you personalize it. The same way when somebody orders, okay, I will have a Grey Goose and soda on the rocks, they're personalizing their drink. You're doing it in the home in a very different kind of way. So it's fascinating. So how'd you get off the ground, though?
Basically, after that, I decided to work on it every day for years and years, and to make up. The first product was very crude, and so
who was the first retailer that bought it?
First retailer that bought it was a store called Dana Party Supply in Dana Point. Really great couple ladies, and I hand made up some packages. Then to manufacture, basically we made up the labels. You have to apply them on the cup, make up the packaging. I sold packaging, so that made it a little easier.
And they saw this and said what?
And I walked into the store, and it was the classic. They were sitting behind their desk with their hand on their chin, and I explained it to them. And I said, hey, look, I made up 100 packages of these or so. Put them in your store. If they sell, pay me for them. If they don't, throw them away or do whatever. And they said okay, and they put them in. They said, bring us a display. So I hand made this display, right? Painted it up with house paint, and made up a little header, And they put them in and they started selling. And we kind of had to guesstimate what the price point would be in volume, because they cost me way more to make at that point than we could sell them for. And when we priced them high, and they sold well and sold through and sold through.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you have this? Because once again, this is obviously not fancy type parties if you're having plastic cups, which 99% of the parties are like this.
Sure.
But you take something that's ordinary, you take whether everybody's having hot dogs or steaks or sandwiches. Now all of a sudden there's this extra layer of fun. You're not just you're not selling literally what you're selling. You're selling fun.
Right.
I mean, you're selling an experience. All of a sudden now drinking a beer anonymously is now a fun experience.
It's an extra fun,
extra fun.
And and we have two added values. One side is the fun that you've hit on a lot, but after the fun wears out, then the utility kicks in.
It's really functional. You can put your drink down. You don't have to worry about somebody putting cigarette butts in it, and all of a sudden you drink it up there, and that's it. Mike Marin,
I like it.
Appreciate it. Great stuff, man.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, more big idea. Straight ahead.